Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is IOANNIS at IOANNIS.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. How long will it take me to? So, this is not one question. I can very easily think of at least 10 questions that ask the same or something similar, like how long will it take me to get that, to reach this speed, to learn to play that or whatever. And I really want to answer this specific set of questions with one video, because the answer is exactly the same. So what is this answer? Well, here it is. Stop thinking like that. Nothing good can come out of you wondering how long it's going to take you to. There is nothing good. There is no positive aspect to knowing the answer to this question, because basically it can only be used to harm. Now let me illustrate and explain. Let's suppose that you have started to play the guitar and you've been playing for a few years, and you send me a question and you ask me, how long will it take me to learn to play For the Love of God by Steve Vai? It's a random example. Thankfully, nobody has asked me this specific question, but we'll take this as an example. And I say, okay, judging from your playing right now, and if you tell me you practice like for 2 hours a day, it should take you around, let's say, 6 months. So, what will happen? Let's suppose you absolutely take my word as the gospel and you start practicing, and the 6 month mark arrives and you have not yet mastered the whole song. So what happens now? You start feeling bad about yourself. You start feeling that you are not talented. You start feeling that maybe you should not waste any more time with this thing called the guitar, because you just don't have it. And in many cases, this goes up to the level where people will quit. Why do they quit? Is it because they don't like the guitar, or they don't like the process of learning? It's not so simple. What really happens is that they set an arbitrary expectation, and then when this expectation, this rate of progress was not met, then they had a negative feeling about it, and this negative feeling led to a downward spiral. And I've actually witnessed that with people like selling their guitars and their guitar gears because they failed to reach a deadline for something, and then being totally depressed for months, and then trying to start again. And when they try to start again, because their digital facility, their fingers are obviously less trained now because they haven't played for 6 months, but they still think of themselves the same way that they were. Now they get even more depressed, and now the guitar, instead of being a source of happiness, it becomes a source of frustration, depression. And all this has to do because of those random high expectations. So what do? Well, honestly, personally, I try to not answer this kind of questions. And if I answer them, or I always put a lot of disclaimers around, if you do exactly as I say, and if things go this way, and if you work these things at the specific rate that we've talked about, because there's no good scenario. If you reach it in the 6 months, then you just reached what you were going to reach anyway, and so there's no gain. And if you don't reach it, there's a potential for massive loss. So this is not a smart thing to be wondering about or to be thinking about. So what should you be doing instead of wondering about that? Let's see. The first thing you should do is to understand why this is a bad mindset. The basic reason if this is a bad mindset is because it can only be used for one thing, and this is quitting something that you have decided you love. In this case, it's the guitar, but this is something that can happen for several other things, not just for the guitar. Once you realize that, you should probably understand that it's a much better, lifelong mindset to just put good conditions in there that will aid you in becoming a better guitar player and a happier guitar player. For example, I'm just going to give some random ideas, okay? Obviously, as I've mentioned several, probably hundreds of times so far, getting a guitar coach that's going to help you with really good quality feedback on your playing is probably number one. Then, having a weekly jam session with your friends where you can both or all of you grow organically in your playing. Then having a goal in which you will aim to do in a specific time, but you are not going to feel pressured to do in a specific time. So in the way that you start walking towards the direction, but you don't say, I'm going to be there in 2 hours or in 2 weeks or in 2 months or in 2 years. It's just a process that you enjoy both the process and you will enjoy the result when it comes, but it doesn't have to come at a specific, random, arbitrary point in time, and if it doesn't come, then you get all depressed and you get all sad about playing music. So all these elements are much more important than sending random time-specific goals. Time-specific goals should be, they have a kind of a very clear role in your guitar playing life, and this should be the following. Once you are already advanced and there is no way that you are going to give up on the guitar, music, or any specific project, then you should put specific deadlines on goals just so that you have them in order. So for example, back in the day, I used to release one big project per year. So one year I would release one CD. The next year I would release a book. The next year I would release another CD. The next year I would release another book, and so on and so forth, alternating between flamenco and electric guitar. But by that time, I was at the mindset level, where there was no chance of me quitting because I missed the deadline. So the deadline was only used constructively. This is the key word. If someone is much more of a beginner, and I'm not just saying that on the guitar, I'm saying in his mindset, then those deadlines can only be used destructively. Because every time you don't reach the deadline, immediately the ugly head of, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this, or maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I don't have the talent, maybe I should give up, maybe I should wait, maybe I'm wasting my time. This happens way more often than probably most of you think. So deadlines, yes. Goals, yes, but only if you have the proper mindset in place. And the proper mindset should not include giving up on music and the instrument. And as I mentioned, this is much more common than you might think. So there you have it. This is exactly why I don't answer questions that start like that. Oh, how long it's going to take me until I am able to, so on and so forth. For the vast majority of people that do not have a finely tuned mindset about working with a thing like the guitar, it can only be used destructively. What you should worry about is if you start a goal and then put processes in place that will help you toward this goal. And then as time goes by, if you want to get better at it, put more and more or better processes that they will become habits and are going to help you develop to this goal that you are aiming for. So there you have it. I hope this was a helpful video, especially for mindset purposes, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Until then, keep sending me your questions and I'll do my best to answer them in a future episode. Bye bye.